Hey guys, and welcome back to another week of Porsche Cup here on iRacing. My name is Matt Emery with Veloce Vex. This is CoachDaveAcademy.com. We're here for week 6 at Road America. Firstly, let's get into the hot lap. So let's get into the hot lap guide then for the Road America circuit for week 6. Now the lap starts obviously coming up this hill towards the start-finish line. Full throttle all the way down to turn 1. Just trying to open up the lap as much as we can to spot our first braking point. So looking to get onto the brakes, you notice just as we cross these 4 cones on the left-hand side. Quite heavy braking. Gone up to about 80% on the brakes initially, just so we don't lock up. And then 4th gear into the apex, turning quite early here, just as the curb helps to rotate the car. So you notice I'm already apexing, I'm already all the way across the curb as we turn in. On the exit as well, just being really careful we don't run too wide. If you do hit the grass, you do pick up an off track, so just something to look out for. Make sure if we use this run, we'll sure we're back onto the track before it ends. And the grass does come at you very quickly, so just make sure you are back on the track by then. But yeah, braking along the 4 cones on the left-hand side, using all of the apex curb and the exit curb as well. Back onto the racing line. And then plunging down to turn 2, 3rd gear. Again, braking just in line with this number 2 on the left-hand side. And also a handy handy white line on the left-hand side of the track. To use as a braking reference. Again, about 80% on the brake, maximum pressure, and then just trailing off, you notice here. 3rd gear, make sure we're using all of the apex curb. Now the apex is slightly cambered as well here, and again, same as turn 1, it helps to bring the car round, so just make sure we are using all of the apex curb that we can, and it really helps with that exit speed, obviously that minimum speed as well, just carries you around the corner quite nicely. And then back on full throttle as we can. Again, using all of the exit curb. Make sure we're not hitting the grass too much, just so we avoid that off track. And then plunging down towards turn 3, under the bridge. And then just thinking about our next braking point. Quite a good place to try and overtake. Very easy to lock up though, and go straight on. Just be careful if you are going to try any moves down here. Braking just before this number 3, the 300 meter board on the right hand side. I did brake quite late on this lap, I remember, and I just made the corner. So you might have braked slightly earlier, maybe towards the 400, or just in line with where the gravel starts on the right-hand side. Again, being very easy on the brake pedal, not going above 80%. Obviously, if you're plunging downhill as well, it's a lot easier to lock up as the car levels out. So here, for example, we're braking, and then as the track goes flat, very easy to lock up again as the car pressurizes. So just look out for that. Also, you notice I'm using all of the right-hand side that I can, just using this curve to open up the corner on the apex as well. Down to second gear then, and you notice I had a slight moment on the apex, just had a slight bit of a slide as I got on the apex, but on the throttle, using all of the track available to us on the exit, all the way out to the edge of the black curb. And that's fine, no off track for that, as long as we don't hit the gravel or the grass, that's all okay to use. As we plunge back up the hill then, quite a blind corner, very tricky to get right, especially when you ride on board. You see what I mean? You can't actually see the corner at all. So you're just braking as this banner on the right hand side, this red banner, the Radical sponsorship on the right hand side ends. Just before we go onto the bridge, second gear, again turning in quite early, using all the apex curb, and then all of the exit curb as well. Just making sure we get back on the track before the grass comes at you. Again, same as turn 1 and turn 2 as well. Back over to the left-hand side then, slight dab of the brake initially, up to 4th gear, and then full throttle. We use all of the apex curb and all of the exit curb as well. Just be careful, as there is a slight bump at the end of this curb, which can catch you out. So make sure, again, back on the racing line once we use all of the curb we can. And then another tricky braking zone. I'm not sure you can really see it from this angle, but there's a horrible bump just at the start of this curb. Very easy to catch and lock up and then go straight on into the gravel. So you notice I'm just being quite easy on the brakes here. I have a slight dip in brake pressure just to accommodate the bump. It's the more you go right, the more you feel the bump. So I'm not using this curb on the entry just for this bump. Again, you can't really see it from this angle. You can only really feel it inside the car. But it is there, so just be careful. Second gear on the apex, again using all of the inside curb. Again, it's quite cambered, so it falls away from you. But again, it helps rotate the car on the apex. Also short shifting up to third gear, you'll notice as well, just to help initial traction. Make sure we're not getting too much oversteer on the apex. Up to third gear, just using all of the track we can. Don't really need to use the curb too much on this corner. So we'll go back to chase cam here. Not using all of the curb on the exit, just make sure we got it all nice and straightened up as we head towards the carousel. Back over to the left hand side as we head underneath the bridge. And this corner, honestly, especially on the fixed set, which is what I was using for this run, it just feels like it goes on forever, especially in this car with the lack of aero you have, and also the weight, because it's quite a heavy car as well. It just understeers and goes on forever and ever. So just be really patient and bear that in mind. You're really just trying to stick as close to this white line as you can, and just really just playing with the throttle and the brake, just feeling what the car's doing. Over a stint, it should get slightly better, should get less understeer as the tyres warm up. Obviously, the fuel burns off as well. But again, just being really patient. So a bit of brake there on the throttle. You notice my brake and throttle traces are all over the place on this corner, so just pay attention to what I'm doing down here. So yeah, throttle, slight dab of brake, on the throttle again, bit more brake, and then just being really patient, waiting for full throttle again. You really be best to just try and stick it as close to this curb as you can to get a better exit. I understood slightly wide on this lap, but still managed to maintain full throttle on the exit, using all of the exit curb as well. But yeah, just being really patient with this corner. It goes on for forever, as I said. Using all of the exit curb and then onto another near flat right-hander. Again, just make sure we're opening up the corner as much as we can on the left-hand side on the entry. Again, the car, especially on the fixed set, if you are going to do races on the fixed, it's quite understeery, which is fixed for the open set. So just bear that in mind. You are going to want to turn in maybe slightly earlier than you think. missed the apex curb slightly there. Just had a slight lift as well. Using all of the exits curb just to make sure we get the best run we can. And then towards the end of the lap then, another heavy braking zone. Again, not really going too much above 80-85% in this corner. Down to third gear. Again, turning in quite early just so we can maximise the exit. So you notice I'm apexing even before this barrier on the right hand side as a reference. Apexing early, keeping it in third gear as well, and then on the throttle as early as we can, just to make sure you get the most of all this runoff on the left hand side we can use. The limit is all the way to the gravel, similar to a lot of the corners. Just make sure we're back on the racing line and back on the track before the curb ends. But yeah, very important to turn in early here. Keep it in third gear just to minimise wheel spin on the exit and any oversteer. And then we plunge back up the hill again. Slight dab of the brake on the entry, using all of the inside curb, as well as the outside curb on turn-in as well, you'll notice. Again, quite a blind corner if I go into the cockpit. Quite a tricky one to spot your references, but yeah, just a slight dab of the brake, lift the throttle, using all of the exit as well. And those of you that are, do Road America a lot, there's a slight bump here as well. This car doesn't mind it too much. Whereas some of the prototypes and Formula cars do mind it a bit more. But this car doesn't mind the bumps too much. So you can use all of the exit curb, making sure we get it back across though for the last corner. Again, completely off the track here, but that's fine as long as it's tarmac. Getting it back to the left-hand side, just opening this corner up as much as we can. Again, just staying in third gear, and then on the throttle as early as we can, using all of the runoff on the exit. Again, making sure we're back onto the racing line before the grass. Just make sure we avoid the off track, and then it's a straight run to the line, up the hill again, to complete a lap of the Road America circuit. So that was the hot lap guide then for week 6 at Road America. Obviously, hope that was useful for you guys. Make sure you check out coachsafeacademy.com for the latest data packs, as well as coaching that I mentioned before, which is available now. Yeah, I've been Matt Emery with Veloce Vexed. Hope you guys really enjoyed that. And I will see you next week for week 7. So take care, guys.